Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Pro Cycling Manager 2018, Pro Cyclist Mode, Episode 57. We've moved into the race lead here on stage number 8 of the Criterium de Dauphine. We'll definitely be finishing that up in this episode with just a few stages left to complete. We've got the USA Championships coming up, and then some tour in France. I don't know. You may have heard of it before. Yeah, that's coming up soon. Alright, so race lead, mountain climbers lead, under 25s lead, third in the sprints. Well, I'm not going to be picking up a bunch of sprint points today. In fact, it's looking from the profile of the stage that this should be a bunch sprint. Speaking of bunch sprint, let's move forward. I'll pick out a point where the action intensifies and riders really start to drop off the back. Otherwise, it really is looking like we're just kind of have that sprint at the end with not any serious climbing to do. So we'll get to that point. We're only about halfway through the stage. We're only going to come back possibly briefly here and then cut again to the end of the stage. We'll see how things go. The reason for coming back is it's not the difficulty of this category 1 climb, though it's done some damage. Cassart's out the back. Quite a few riders out the back. There's 75 left in the peloton as we go over the top. However, the main thing is the relentless attacking by the field. From the very, very beginning of the stage, a breakaway group of 10 wasn't enough, and more riders kept attacking. Even when they got a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes away, one by one, more riders just kept attacking off the front, off the front, to where there was about 4 groups and close to 30 riders. So I had to really kick into gear my team to start reeling some of those groups back in, which we eventually did. And we got it down to 15 riders off the front. Now, over that Category 1 climb, that group has shattered a bit. And we can see 7 of those 15 are off the back. So there's 8 riders, a little over a minute ahead of 5 following riders. And it looks like we'll reel these guys back in. We are only about 2:45 back, so that's not bad. But Cassart's already used up. Port is mostly used up. And DeMarquis was a bit used up and not doing too well today, maybe a bit sick here on this Category 2 climb. I was using about a 78 to pull them back in, and I don't want DeMarquis to get shuffled too far back here, so I'm going to try to bring him back towards the front. And we've got some chasing to do as we are 3 minutes behind here in the race lead. It is ultimately up to my team and I. So DeMarquis, go ahead, get him pulling things back a bit. I mean, that leads now 3.5 minutes. Just 51 riders left in the peloton. I really didn't expect these climbs to do that much damage. It's mostly straight, mostly flat the rest of the way. We've got a couple little climbs here right now. Kwiatkowski pulling at the front. It's always a difficult one to find. That's to follow. When he's leading the peloton, it does a lot of damage, and the peloton shrinks considerably. There are 34 riders now. And that's not counting the fact that we're now, 5 seasons down the road from where things are in real life. Well, in real life, we're actually 1 season down the road now, right?
There's a breakaway in the leading group.
DeMarquis, I'd like you to pull again here one more time. It's Roland, Viermos. That group's not too far forward now. Just 29 riders left. And actually, there you go. That's all that's left of the breakaway. So just 7 riders now. And they don't have much distance. The Marquis actually can recover a bit on this descent. He should be able to get us back up over the next one. I don't think he's got any sort of placing to protect. He's in 21st, 11:53. Sunday is pulling. Sivikov is pulling. So we're not alone chasing these guys down. That's good. And with such a small peloton, we actually are looking pretty decent in a good placement on the stage as well, and not just maintaining our position overall, which I've had a really easy time in this one. Got a little fatigued riding on my own, like during that Category 1 climb, a little bit again during that Category 2 climb, but otherwise I've ridden very comfortably today. And that the only real threat was when, a third of the field tried to get into the breakaway group and create a massive breakaway. There you go. Pace is starting to lift. Arankini. Even in 80s still. Okay, it's down to 7, so we've pulled one of those guys back in. That's why the peloton has grown by 1. And you can see there's a handful very close, and there's the leaders. Now, there's not much climbing left to do, so it's going to have to be pure pace to pull them back in. But chase has been hard enough that I don't think those guys will last terribly long. I mean, we've seen how much they've shattered by. Kwiatkowski, yeah. Now, in real life, you wouldn't want to be this far out in front without some sort of protection. But in game, that doesn't necessarily matter. It's all about positioning. If you're trying to pull at the front, then you are exposed to the wind. If you are just riding in position, even though you're temporarily out front, it doesn't affect anything. So alright, well, the thought of cutting to the end is no longer a valid one. There's just 20 kilometers left to go. We are 2 minutes behind the leaders still, so they're actually not going to be very easy to pull back in. DeMarquis, you've not actually led here for a while, so there we go. Get you chasing.
Oh, the list of those left behind goes on rising.
Gap's actually growing. Breakaway group's pushing harder than we are. And they might just hang on to win this stage. I suppose it doesn't matter. I mean, timing-wise, they're well down the order. Or are they? Allard, yeah, 1830, 30. Roland is 1340 down. So yeah, there's no threats. That doesn't mean we won't give chase and try to do something. Oh, peloton's back up to 51 riders. So second group on the road has caught back up. Put themselves in contention here. I don't have control of Hamilton, so I can't even get a lead out for some sort of sprint to see if I can't get into the top 10. So I'm going to be on my own for that. 5K left overall. We are still over 6 kilometers down, which means we are nearly 2K behind those lead riders. And there's still a couple random riders in between. There they are. And here comes Postelberger, Stibar, McCarthy all attacking with 4K to go. DeMarquis. Oh, they're not attacking. They're just trying to pull at the front. Okay, here's what we're going to do.
This time it could go all the way.
Can I not? No? No? Okay. How about infinite relay and I follow you. There we go. Oh, I'm only set to an 83. That's not good.
And there goes the mad burst for the final sprint.
Come on. Get up there. Get up there.
That's just fantastic. He really was the strongest in the leading group.
Braken takes the win. Okay. You're going to go 99. Oh, I couldn't get around McCarthy. Oh, and we caught the other guys too, so top 10? Is it? Is it? Yes, 10th. Nice. It's always nice to get in the top 10.
We're waiting for the tailenders who continue to arrive.
2 stages to go.
An attack is launched.
Stage 7. Breakaway groups are trying to form. They are trying to be humongous at this point. I mean, there's as many as 45 riders that are trying desperately to get off the front. And I need a count of where we're at right now. That's 17. That's a lot better than 45. I've pulled them back in a couple times. This time, I think I might let these 15 go for it. Back off enough to get them out front real quick. And hope that nobody else decides that they want to take off as well.
There's now more than a minute between them.
17. Well, that's a tolerable number. That's much better than 45. 17 we can deal with. I need to know kind of where they're at timing-wise, though. We'll go to the front. So we've got 13:56 to... No. Oh, no. I can only do it this way. It looks like 13 minutes. 7:47 to Kwiatkowski. Yeah, that's... I think Kwiatkowski is going to be the closest. 15th overall at 7:47. So I've got to make sure to keep them within about 7 minutes. Alright, we're going to speed up for now and set you back to auto, which should be, yeah. Take turns rolling off the front. Let them pull away for a bit. Almost 3 minutes now. 3 minutes. Now the reason for being here for most of this stage is the fun begins early today, as the lead's already 4 minutes. You have a massive climb here early on. Alls category, pretty intense. You guys better not be trying to take off here. Yeah, 5 minutes ahead already. A little late to join the party. Okay. They like the gap at 5. They don't want the gap to grow. That makes me happy. Because for me it was 7. Means they're going to participate in chasing them down. There's no break after this Alls category because we go right back up to the actual peak, another category 2 right after. And then we'll recover on the descent, but then we have a category 1. A relatively flat region for a while before 2 climbs to the finish, and it's hard to tell how small the group is going to be after these 2 climbs. Guaranteed there's not going to be 101 riders by the time we reach the top. But what's the pace going to be like? We've already accelerated to keep after those 17. And 17 is a large enough group that they are going to be pulling some pace. Unfortunately for me, I'm on a -1 race day condition today. But you can see that I'm still just about neutral attribute-wise. My fighter's down, my downhill is down. Prologue, that doesn't matter. But I still have a +1 climbing, so... On to the climb here. We're going at ×2. It's still looking quite slow. Let's go ×4 for now. There's not going to be any points to gather down in 17th place. And the gap is actually growing a little bit. 5.5 minutes now. And this is keeping pretty much everyone in the field. I might have to turn things on here at some point through this climb. We're already just about halfway. We've lost 45 seconds to the break. we're not far behind them at all, but it's because of how steep things are. We're clawing back a little bit. Their pace is slowed slightly. Pulled back about 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Here comes the initial attacks going for the top of the climb. Pot wants the points. Whoever's in the mountain climber's jersey is in that group. There's Roland. And Roland, 10 points clear at the top, so I am in second in that competition. But Roland has now taken the lead.
Aha! He's trying to give his pals the slip.
Alright, well, only a few riders drop off the back. So just about everybody got to the top, so our pace was pretty casual on there. And all of a sudden, we're 9 minutes down. So just that little attack at the top has opened up the gap significantly, and we've got some work to do to reel these guys back in. And speaking of, I think now is a good time to take somebody like Port and get up there, Richie. Mitchelton Scott or Hunsgrove pushing things a little bit pace-wise. Here's Port.
The pack is increasing its work rate. Some teams can't be happy with the breakaway.
He's pushing at an 80. You can see that at a 72. It says I'm blinking red, but I'm staying right on his wheel. Oh, there you go. Just at the top. Start to drop back a little bit. 89 riders.
Be careful. This downhill is known to be very dangerous.
Dangerous downhill. There could be crashes. We'll see. It's a 9-minute gap. Like I said, I didn't want it to get out more than 7. So we've got some work to do to start reeling these guys back in before the last 2 climbs. But meanwhile, ×1 speed is not suitable for this downhill, so let's go faster. ×4. The only action we're going to get here is crashes. We've pulled back 15 seconds, so an 80 is faster than they're descending, but only slightly. Somebody's coming through with water here, Cassart. Oh, we're not pulling at the front anymore. Richie Port decided to deny his assignment. Leads down to 7:15 now. Richie Port, who was supposed to be at the front, is now well down the field and not in a very good position to be working and pulling the field a little faster. So we're still 7:15 down. I was hoping to claw some time back on this climb. And yet Richie Port can't get through. I'd like him to kind of just work his way up one rider at a time. If he accelerates too hard, he'll have nothing left by the time he gets to the front. Right now, nobody seems to be pulling because DeMarquis at the front and he's just protecting me. Breakaway group has shattered a bit. You can see there's at least 4 riders that have been lost from that group. And meanwhile, we're down to under 50 riders left ourselves, even though everybody made it over the Alls category. Except for, what, 2 riders? Cassart's been dropped. Is 5 minutes down, so he won't be coming back. We've got DeMarquis, Hamilton, and Port left, but none of them looking very strong right now. This downhill coming up, though, they should recover a fair amount and can do some work through that valley to pull that gap back a bit. I need to make sure that they are back within, well, obviously less than 7 minutes, but realistically less than 4 or 5 minutes, so that I don't have to deal with Kwiatkowski on the final stage as a threat, because he's allowed to go and win the race from the breakaway with a huge lead. That would definitely not be a desirable situation. Okay, DeMarquis, Hamilton recovering some. Port is actually still recovering some, even though he's working at the front just because of the downhill. But it's starting to level off a bit, so that's where we're at. 4 guys. Medium strength. Let me speed it up for a little while here. I'm looking fine, but those last 2 climbs could end up being pretty intense. Group of 39, pretty small, with just four riders out of, well, now 40. We're exactly 10% of the field. So there's still plenty of competition, and there's definitely going to be some support for other teams as well out there. Leads down to 4 minutes now. Richie Port doing his job, doing it well. Enough so that I could actually back off a little bit and let him last a little longer as we continue to reel the breakaway group back in. 3.5 minutes. And I might trade off and put Hamilton up there before Richie Port's completely out of energy. Set him to a 77, and you're going to go recover for a while if you can. Leaving it a little bit late for you. DeMarquis coming with water. That should get me to the end. 47 kilometers. We are now chasing 12 riders who are down to a 3.5 minute lead. I don't care ultimately if they win the stage. I just don't want Kwiatkowski gaining significant time. And if he's 7.5 down overall right now, he would pick up 3.5 minutes, which would mean I would have a 4 minute lead. That's okay. I'm not worried about him having a 4 minute. Or him being down by 4 minutes, because that would put him, well up the standings in the top 5 or so. And from there, I'm not too concerned about him trying to get into a breakaway group in the next stage. He would suddenly become a contender and have to sit tight. And if we pull back another minute and a half, and they win by 2 minutes, that's no concern. And even that might put him close enough that he doesn't try to get in a breakaway group next time. That may be enough to get him into the top 10 and out of that picture entirely. Hamilton's done. Okay, Port, back to work. Hamilton, relax. Still 3.5 minutes, so Hamilton's work there on his own. Didn't pull back any more time, but that's going to do some damage to the field ahead. And Port, why don't you go ahead and relax as well. I think we're done pulling for now. We'll see. Make sure that time doesn't explode. 3:40. Pulled back 10 seconds already. Who's going to step up? Quick step. Okay. Bora. Alright. We're getting some support out there. That's good. Hamilton's gone off the back. DeMarquis. Come back and protect here. Just like that, Peloton's shrinking 34 riders now. Breakaway group's down to 11 as they lost 1 rider. It's Sunday. 10 of the 11 are listed here, so Martin, Pot, Villermoz, Roland, Bernard Kwiatkowski, Hausen, Frele, Moreno, and Gautier. Plus one more. Port's hanging on, but about to go out the back. There he goes. 31 riders. He wasn't the only one going out the back there.
The riders are entering the last 15 kilometers of the stage.
Now, this is the kind of place for me to do some damage. But I'm not necessarily looking to do some damage here. So, we've got that little bit of a descent, and I'll certainly recover. I'd like to be at full strength for that last climb. I've already got the race lead, and I've already got a comfortable race lead. I don't need to blow up and lose 3 minutes. I need to keep others from attacking, so. Calmejean 419 down.
Wow, that's one attack that's going to leave a good few in its wake.
What is his position? 7th. He's not a threat to me. DeMarquis hanging on, but he's not got a lot left. Peloton's down to 23 riders. Calmejean didn't really get away. Here's the attack I need to probably cover. Enrique Mas? No? What about Ben O'Connor? 323. I might want to cover that. How close are we to the top? 2.8 kilometers still. See what happens if I push 85.
The riders are in a portion above 10%.
Okay, the Marquis is done. O'Connor's down in 8th place. I'm not worried about him. Carapaz. Enrique Mas.
Acceleration by Roland.
There we go. Peloton's down to 17. And we've caught back up to O'Connor. The mountain's already
The
done.
rider has a flat tire. Let's hope he is helped out quickly. Another attack. This time
Just 14 riders now. Ben O'Connor's trying to go for it, but again, he's not a threat to the overall. So let him attack. Meanwhile, I'm going to recover a bit here on this descent and be in really good shape for the final climb.
5 kilometers to the finish line.
Sivakov is a threat. Oops. How big of a threat? He's in 84, but he's in 19th. So actually he can go, and I mean, the stage is out of reach. It's not like I'm going to win the stage. So I'm just fighting for the overall here. And here is that final climb. 3.8 kilometers to go. It is steep right from the get-go. So we'll go ×1. Let's try to hold position here. If anyone accelerates, we accelerate right there with them.
Falling behind. A team leader
Okay.
is falling behind.
Use my gel. 2 kilometers to go. And I can put enough pace, tempo into this that these guys are going to have a hard time keeping up with me. I don't like being way over on the left edge. Get towards the middle here so I can see what's going on.
And the final sprint is off. Who's going to be the first to the line today?
500 meters.
That's just
Kwiatkowski takes the win. No surprise, but I'm only seconds behind him. 5th place on the stage. Barely even tried. Simon Yates just ahead of me. No time gap there. Enrique Mas, Fabio Aru, Dumoulin in 8th, Roland, Froome, Frele. Today was about consolidating that lead, not letting anyone catch up. Kwiatkowski, of course, was in the breakaway group. Egg, Hausen were all in the breakaway group. So Simon Yates, the only contender to finish above me at all, and I was right on his wheel, and that was an easy finish. Comfortable finish. I think that was well played. Could I have potentially attacked them? Could I have potentially taken time out of them? certainly. I'm strong enough. But could I have potentially done that too early and blown up and then lost 2 minutes on the stage? Absolutely. So that was all about protecting the jersey, and it went well. Went very well. See how those overall standings are looking now. Before we move into the final stage, which does end with a pretty steep climb. So this race is not over yet. Their chances of beating me are getting slim, but we're definitely not done. DeMarquis takes 27th on the stage, Port 41st, Hamilton 53rd, Cassart 88th. Not a very great finish for any of them, but fortunately they are actually working for me now. Unlike stage 6 where they didn't really provide any support. And breakaway group wins, but only by 19 seconds. And then the rest of us here all on the same time, meaning there's absolutely no impact. So I've got a 36-second lead over Dumoulin, and then 3 minutes over Yates, Aru, 4 minutes over Hermans. O'Connor is at 5, along with Moss. Fulsang's at 6. Kwiatkowski now into 9th place at 7:18, which I think does put him up high enough where he's not going to be able to go into the breakaway group. He'll know better than trying to go into the breakaway group. Chris Froome also in the top 10, so shouldn't go in. Now Franchini or Carapaz, Calmejean, I could see them all going into the breakaway group, but they're not a threat when they're that far down. And then we'll just need to manage that time. But a lot of riders are further back overall. Sprint, I'm just 1 point behind Simon Yates. But in the mountain, Pierre Rolland picked up most of the points in that stage. And so we went from a slender lead to a distant second. So I think Rolland is going to wrap that jersey up. The under 25s, though, will belong to me. And we are second in the team competition. Win this stage, whatever. I don't care. This is what I care about. We do pick up 8 points there. 45 kilometers left in this race. 2 climbs to go. Huge breakaway group. 23 riders. I actually had to do some fighting to keep it from being even larger than that. There was, once again, about 40 riders fighting to get into it. So we've got a Category 1 climb here that we're just about at the base of now, even though we have been going uphill for quite a long time already. So some damage being done to the field. Even I'm a little bit fatigued at this point. You can see my whole team a little tired. Cassart a bit further. Cassart has done the bulk of the work so far, chasing back the riders we didn't want in the breakaway, along with retrieving water and whatnot. And then the final climb is a climb well suited to me. It's continuously uphill. It's relatively steep all the way to the finish line. And it's going to be hard for them to do any damage to me, especially when there's only a couple riders I really need to keep an eye out for. If others want to attack and go off on their own, that's fine. In a small group of just a few riders, I will be the strongest, so it's going to be hard for them to attack me. And if the whole group attacks one after another, that would do damage if I respond to each attack. But when I only have to respond to really just 1 or 2 guys, then I should be just fine. You can see Dumoulin's the main one I need to keep an eye out for. Simon Yates is 3 minutes behind right now, and Fabio Aru 3.5. If those two attack really early, I would need to keep an eye out for them, Aru and Yates. But ultimately, it's just Dumoulin that I need to keep at bay. Peloton already shrinking, 85 riders. We have gone a long ways into this stage already by this point, though this is a bit of a shorter stage. Breakaway group has nearly 5 minutes, so we actually do need a little bit of a push here, and I think Hamilton's going to be the one to start providing that. I would have Cassart go first, but he's already nearly done. So we'll still have DeMarquis left. Port on protection duties for now. So I'll use these guys up one by one. Hopefully just one for this climb. So Hamilton, we'll try to keep it to just him for this one. Leads out over 5 minutes now and actually growing. So I need Hamilton to push a little bit harder here. Those guys are attacking the top though, so they are gaining some time. Accelerating there. 6 minute gap. By the way, in the breakaway, I think the closest anyone is about 11 minutes behind. So no real threats there overall. Oh, DeMarquis, what's going on? What just happened to DeMarquis? There's a split. I think it's going to come back together though. It's only 45 seconds, 19 riders. DeMarquis is in that group. Long descent. They should remake contact. He better remake contact. I need him. I don't know how he got off the back when he was right at the front. I'm already fresh, ready for the climb. Richie Port recovering enough. Hamilton, not so much, but I could actually let him rest for right now, and that'll get him back in good shape. But he'll lead out again immediately at the base of the climb, or just before the base of the climb. DeMarquis has not made contact, and actually that gap has grown a little bit. It's a minute. I don't mind too much. I mean, it's better with a smaller group, I suppose. We still have 20 riders left off the front, split into two groups, considerable gaps. I'm not worried about those guys. It's really just the group that I'm in. And the smaller it is, the less support there are for the other riders out here. Like I said, there's really only those three riders that I'm keeping an eye on. And especially Dumoulin, as he's the one that's within range more so than the others. Okay, Hamilton has recovered. That's good. Aru's that third one. That I gotta remember that name. Keep an eye out. Only if he attacks early do I need to worry about it. If he attacks late, not a concern. Say with Yates. Though Yates is a bit more dangerous than Aru.
Attack with the finishing line within reach.
Counter-attack by Pierre Roland.
The riders are entering the last 10 kilometers of the stage. And there's an attack at the front.
Okay.
He could go all the way.
Hamilton. Get to the front. Make it like an 82. Start that chase. I just want enough pressure to slow down attacks. And I think an 83 is enough to get you. There we go, to the front, and working hard. 10 kilometers. For a Criterium de Dauphine win. There's 6 breakaway riders caught very quickly there. Dauphine now caught. Okay, the front is still all split up, but we've got another group of 7 not that far ahead. Okay, got some riders trying to come forward, so maybe I'll go a little bit harder here. 84 now. .85. If they're up in the tempo, that means attacks are coming, and Aru attacking from a long ways out. So Hamilton, let's go 88.
The riders are entering the last 5 kilometers.
Come on, Hamilton.
The riders are going through a very tough portion with percentages above 10%.
There we go. Reel him back in. Good, good. Okay, back to 86. Back to 88. Aru's hurting himself here. I'm responding with Hamilton. That's good. Comes Froome. 25 riders. Group shrinking. And we're about to switch to port. Aru's been caught again. Okay, Hamilton, your job is done. Now, can you accelerate? No. There's Yates and Dumoulin all going. No, let's change your duties here. Protect. Hello, protect. Go forward for a second. Protect. Oh, I'm in follow. Okay, that's why it won't work. Protect. Seriously? Protect! There it goes. Okay. Go 89, accelerate. There we go. Neutralize that almost immediately. We're actually down to 3.7k. This is my time to go, and I actually am off the front. So let's stick with an 87 here, 3k. I think I can handle this pace for 3k. .12-second gap. Now it's just 11 riders behind. I'm opening that gap a little bit, and the group chasing is getting further behind. And meanwhile, I'm having no problems with this pace. So let's keep it up. I don't need to really attack them. And actually go harder. I'm closer to the finish here. Let's go 89. Bowman takes the stage. Egg takes second. Viermos, Farikin, Conrad, De Gent. Sprint. Sprint. Go, go. Don't you block me. Seriously? Get ahead of you guys. Into 8th place for the stage. Winning for my own little breakaway here. That's Hirata. That's Roland. Here comes Dumoulin in 11th. Aru. There's Yates. All behind me just a little bit. There should be a little time gap there, but we'll see if there actually is. Bottom line is that is going to be the victory. So it is secure. I have won the Criterium de Dauphine. And still had a little energy to burn. And I very easily rode them off my wheel. And that was on a -1 race day condition, which, as we can see with the 97% fitness balance, really just kind of came out to be level. So Richiport takes 28th, DeMarquis 37th, Hamilton is 40th. Gassart's still out there, over 20 minutes down, so it's going to be 10 minutes before he comes in. After Yates, who finished in 13th, we've got Moss in 15th, Sivakov behind him, Froome behind that, Ben O'Connor in 19th, there's Carapaz, Moreno was sandwiched in there at 18th. So I once again, other than the breakaway group, win. Well, technically Yates beat me on that last stage, right, by a bike length. But I wasn't attacking hard there.
Now for the best moments of the day.
So on to the results. Minute 48 down. Hirata, Roland takes the same time. 2:02 to those first chasers. And those guys were the main contenders, so they lose 14 seconds. And there you go. Final standings. Winner by 50 seconds over Tom Dumoulin. Simon Yates over 3 minutes down with Aru, Moss, Hermans, Connor, Fulsang, Froome, Kwiatkowski, your top 10. That was enough points to overcome Simon Yates and win the sprints competition, so there's some extra points. Second in the mountain climbers. Pierre Roland won that comfortably from the break. Under 25s, over 12 minutes ahead. And as a team, we actually drop a spot to 3rd place with Lotto and El Jumbo with a good performance on that final stage. we'll take that. That's going to be some really good points. 57 points of progression, back to 100% manager satisfaction, over halfway to level 23. During the Tour de France, depending on how things are going, I very well could hit that 23rd level, and that's where I think I'll start to become OP, depending on what leveling up I have. Now, I'm going to closely monitor my training program over the next few weeks before we begin the Tour de France. All I have is the USA Championships between now and there. So, so I just finished the Criterium de Dauphine, and then we have USA Championships time trial, USA Championships road race, and then Tour de France starting on the 7th of July. So we're right there on that edge. So just these couple of dates, and then we get that going. So I have 1, 2, 3 weeks of training plus a few days before the Tour de France. What I need to do is make sure I don't build my fitness up too soon and have a fitness peak here over this dead period. So I'm going to do more braking than training over these next few weeks to lower that fitness level. I'm going to have to monitor that closely and not just speed through to the Tour de France, and then try to get it to where I'm going to hit that fitness peak during the Tour de France. And I think I might be able to pull that off, as we are still a bit shy of that fitness peak. Now, in terms of the standings, quick look as we wrap the episode up. World Tour points well ahead. Simon Yates is well clear of Dumoulin. And then in the Super Prestige, over 2,500 points now. So for me, that's over halfway towards mastery of the game, as 5,000 points is the point I need. I've still got 2 Grand Tours to go, and I'm nearly 1,000 points clear of Simon Yates. I'm having a good season. I'm having that breakout year. This is it, but I need a Grand Tour win. A second place so far, that's not good enough. I need a Tour de France win. Hopefully, full team support, better team this time around than what I had for the Giro d'Italia. That would be something, huh? By the way, Viviani's up in 7th himself. As a team, we are well clear of the standings, largely through my level of success that I've had, but obviously I'm not the only one. Viviani has scored some good points for the team as well. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer, and remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe and tune in next time on my Road to the Record. Bye for now.